Welcome to Club 13, the podcast that helps real estate agents break into the top 13% of the industry instead of the 87% who fail within the first 5 years. Today, we have an absolute powerhouse in real estate joining us, Jim Raines.
Thank you.
Jim has had an incredible career spanning decades, leading multiple Keller Williams offices, coaching top producing agents, and building his own successful real estate business. He has not been in real estate 50 years, like they tried to trick me yesterday. He's not that old, but he's been how many decades? How long? When did you actually get into real estate?
Over 30 years ago.
30 years, okay.
Yeah.
Well, welcome to our podcast, Jim, and let's get started. Just tell us a little bit about your real estate journey and how you got started.
Well, I really got started because my sister, who has been in real estate for about 5 years, basically talked me into getting into real estate. I had retired from training horses, and I had spent a lot of years doing that. And after my daughter was born, I had to get something that was a little more consistent. So I moved back to Tennessee, and I went into real estate after that.
So, tell us about your horse. What did you do with horses? Because we're all horse people around here.
Well, I trained quarter horses. They were all around horses. I managed large estates, and we trained for youth and amateurs. We would take sometimes 30 head of horses to a horse show, and we had multiple world champions, multiple Congress winners over my career as a real estate agent,
as a horse trainer.
As a horse trainer. So it's been it was an interesting transition, but obviously I've hung in there.
You have, and don't let him fool you, because we were at a horse show yesterday. Hey, our horse won third in the limited open, but
awesome.
It's a step. She did good.
Cool. Hey.
She did good.
That's awesome.
All right. So many people, I will explain a little bit. Our Club 13, we just thought it was such an interesting statistic, because I'll be honest, I did not know this statistic, and I'm glad I didn't, because I just thought real estate was easy. I got into real estate and thought, anybody can do this. It sounds like something that would be really fun. It was a second career for me. And then later on, I found out that 87% of people, they actually fail. They do not sell real estate within 5 years.
Yep.
And so Joan and I both, my sister, we both just joke that, we're really glad we didn't know that.
Yeah.
But, our job at Texas Legacy Realty, we want people to really thrive and be in that top 13%. So what do you think kept you in the game when so many others burn out?
Well, I think it's just focusing on the people and the relationships. In a lot of cases, their stories, and why they're doing what they're doing, or what their motivation is for buying or selling. I think that keeps us it keeps us fresh and keeps us focused on the best parts of our job.
Right. We talk, I know Jim and I, we interview agents all the time, and what we look for is just people that really care about people, that we know that they're going to take care of our clients out in the community, and just finding that person that has a true, genuine interest in
Absolutely.
people. We're always looking for that characteristic in particular. So what is more difficult? Do you think owning brokerages, leading teams, or just out there every day selling real estate? What do you think is the most difficult?
Well, I think they all have their challenges, but for me, I think it's leading teams, because you have so many different people with different personalities, and the only way you can lead is if you inspire people. If you inspire them, they'll follow you. Right. Otherwise, without the inspiration, you're just taking a walk by yourself.
Right.
So.
No, that's for sure. And you do that a very good job with that. We're just always, wanting to find what motivates people. And I think you're exactly right. Just kind of casting that vision of success, because people are, when you go to work, you want to make money.
Exactly.
You want to make sure that your family's also taken care of. So you do a great job of that.
Thank you.
Oh, this is a good one. We kind of go into what has made some of your top agents successful. So I know you've coached, you've trained, you've led some of the biggest agents. I know a lot of them myself in the industry. And so what do you think separates a top producing agent from someone who struggles?
I think the top producing agents are disciplined in a lot of areas of their life. Everybody has that area of their life that they kind of fly by the seat of their pants. But the ones that are most successful are business minded. They treat it like a business. They have consistent prospecting. They're really good at building relationships with people, and they never stop learning. It's the continuing education and being a student of the market is what really sets the top agents apart. I mean, you're a prime example of that. You're constantly learning. You're always listening to books and podcasts, and you're awesome at that.
Well, thank you. I know. I feel like too. We have a little motto around here that done is better than perfect, and so I think that's a big separator too. That top producing agents just take action.
Yes,
they're not paralyzed by things. They get an idea and they act on it, and I think they have a little bit of speed to what they do. A lot of times they're always very conscientious and careful, but they have some action.
Exactly, because I mean, when you pause or you slow down in negotiations, that brings like indecision. And when you hit pause in life, you get stuck.
Right.
So I think that's a big part of it.
So this says if. But I know that you've lived in 8 states, and so you've done this multiple times. So if you had to start over, which you have, with 0 contacts, no team, no database in that area, what is the first thing you would do to start making money quickly?
Well, I think the biggest thing is you have to figure out who your target audience is. And because you want to put yourself in the path of the money and people who need your services. So you have to kind of get the lay of the land of wherever you are starting your business. And I call it guerrilla warfare. But at the end of the day, it's about assessing, who do you need to be in business with? And, that comes down to you have to start networking out of the gate. So join, different organizations. If you like the Rotary, it needs to be things that you truly enjoy and that you're committed to being part of.
Right.
To build those relationships.
Right. And start building that trust and your sphere of influence sometimes when you don't know anyone.
Yep.
I think you hold the record for how many states?
I've been licensed in 8 states now.
So 2024, we're going to talk a little bit about some of the lessons we learned last year, because what we want to always do is reflect on what didn't work or what the challenges were in the market or even are in the market, and then always just kind of pivot from that. But 2024 was a year of some challenges and shifts. Interest rates changing in the market with, the commission lawsuit settlements, and there was even some agent burnout. So what are the biggest challenges that you saw, and how did the successful agents navigate that?
Well, I think the biggest thing, especially the successful agents, they had, with the change in the market and with the interest rates, anybody that had repeat referral business was, they were pretty consistent with every 3 to 5 years, they had someone moving. And so they had a steady flow of income. Now, fast forward, people are staying in their houses a lot longer because you can't get a 2.5% interest rate anymore. So that gap is now, 5 to 10 years. So my sister, who's been in real estate, I say since Jesus was a baby, she felt this exact thing happen to her because now she has gaps in her business. So she had to double down. She had to go back to doing things that she was uncomfortable doing, and like the lead generation and the things that have become a little more passive for her. She had to go back to the basics. And I think the top agents, they have the ability to go back to the basics. We have a whole generation of agents that they were just order takers there for a while because that was the fast pace of the market. And now they're having to go back and develop skills that, we went from a fast-paced to a skills-based, scenario now. So we've got to
I
double
think
down on
that
that.
was the theme we heard all year is getting back to basics and hosting those open houses and making sure that you're touching base with your entire database and all of those things. And you're exactly right. And the agents that did that saw they still had a very successful year with with the challenges. So what do you think in 2024? I feel like mindset was also a big problem because we heard so much negativity on the news and some of the things that we heard. I know it kind of messed with some of the mindsets with some of our agents, not a lot of them, but what do you think held some of our agents back, and what do you think really with mindset helped them push forward?
Well, I think it caused a lot of people to get in a state of indecision. My sister, like I keep referring to my sister, but at the end of the day, she really did, the fear of COVID and everything caused her to stop. And so you have a lot of agents that, are started questioning, even top agents were questioning, whether they should stay in the business or not because their business was so off from year over year. And so I think that's the biggest thing. The agents that powered through that and just focused on, ramping up their business were the ones who are now succeeding at a high level.
Right.
We have a whole new group of agents that they don't know what they don't know about the industry, and they're being successful just because we tell them what they need to do, and they just go do it. They don't even think about it. So I think we have to get out of our own way in a lot of cases.
One thing I was really proud of is that we had so many agents that came to us as a new brokerage that, they've been in the business 20 years or they've been in the business 10 years, and things were just not as good for them, like you said. But, they really followed our playbooks. They really tried new things. They got into technology. And I think they impressed themselves. I really do.
Absolutely.
Like I can just think of so many in my mind. And they were probably a lot of them in our top 10 this year, and their businesses were down.
Yeah.
And they really came back and made a big comeback and really tried a lot of new things.
Yeah, absolutely.
And they were excited.
Everybody got outside of their comfort zone because you get too comfortable and you just get stuck.
Right.
And I think that's, Patty's a prime example. I love her.
Right.
She didn't love making phone calls, but boy, she has really embraced that. She has really leaned into the things that she didn't necessarily love to do.
Right.
So.
And she's been very successful, and she's a hard worker. Like you can always say that she is a hard worker.
Absolutely.
So how has the role of team leader changed in the last few years with all of these changes that we're talking about?
Well, I think it's that role is you constantly have to pivot, and my love for people really helps me stay in curiosity about what do they need. And I think that's the biggest change is, what people needed, 2 years ago is not what they need today. And I think that's the biggest challenge is making sure that we're providing enough value to, for our clients and for our agents at our brokerage.
Right. I agree. And that's kind of what I actually have in big, bold print right here is the pivot, because as we go into 2025, we had our business planning meeting. Obviously, it was in December. It's been a while now. But we just looked at what was working in our business and what do we need to change for 2025. And so what do you feel like, especially in your own personal business, what did you do or what did you decide to double down on in 2025 to stay ahead of the market?
Well, I think the biggest thing is having clear goals. That sounds like it's simple and easy, but it can be a challenge on a lot of days because of where we've been isn't necessarily where we're going. So what I have here is having clear goals and stick to the basics. And I think that's what is driving the success of our company and our agents, because the basics are where the dollar productive activities are. You can have these fancy calendars, you can have all this stuff, but at the end of the day, it's just stuff if you're not doing the basics.
Right. You got to have real estate conversations. And that's what we always talk about is just making sure that you're making your calls, that you're talking to your clients, that you're touching base with them. And there's so many creative ways you can do that. That's very sincere. But every day we're real estate agents.
Yeah.
We need to be having real estate conversations.
Exactly. And you can't always have those in the office. So you have to go out to where the people are.
I probably won't buy a house from you, Jim.
Exactly.
So I'm trying to think too, some of our agents, when they were setting their business plans, I feel like some of our agents are really trying to get into the technology side. And I know you talked about video. Talk about the importance of video. It's not the most comfortable thing.
It is not
especially
comfortable
for
me.
our age group.
I'm going to tell you right now, I have had to really embrace video. It is, I don't find myself, being very confident and or feeling comfortable on screen, but you have to get outside your comfort zone. So it's stretching me and growing me, and you've helped me with that. Jennifer's really good about hey, I need you to do this like right now. so it helped me be a lot more spontaneous and authentic. I think that's the biggest thing.
Right. Well, and it is, it's a tough thing to break into. And I feel like it's one of the biggest fears. I think cold calling and just reaching out, to like expired leads and things like that. And then the video fear is one of the biggest things that we hear from agents as far as what their fear is. But once they try it, they realize, hey, even if it's 100 views or 200 views, that may not seem like too many, but how could you ever have that many real estate conversations?
Exactly. That's the only way you're going to get in front of enough people, because it's a numbers game.
Right. And also I know I keep saying like different generations, but the young, really everybody, we get on YouTube now and we get our news a lot of times from Instagram and different, there's so many ways that on our phone we get our information, and we like to learn things. We have AI, right? ChatGPT, and we can learn anything just from our phone. And I think when you make those educational videos and different things like that, that's what people want to know. What's going to happen on closing day? Or how do I get the best deal? And how do I find the best agent? And you can help them with that information.
Exactly. I think that's a big part of it.
Well, so what do you think, if there's anything new, any new marketing, technology, lead generation strategies that's really shaping the industry in 2025?
Well, I know we touched on video. I think that's a huge part of it. And, social media, I mean, that's a huge driving force right now as well. I think Instagram's probably the strongest resource that we have as far as social media is concerned. And, for me, I haven't really focused on that. So I need to be a lot more purposeful about, that part of our business.
Right. And also, just within our brokerage, it's amazing, because before you would have a CRM that basically houses phone numbers and all of these things, but they've become this robust marketing system that connects with Google and just all of these things to help us reach more people and help more people. And I feel like AI has been a game changer.
It really has.
Just as far as something that might take you an hour can take you 10 or 15 minutes.
Exactly. The content, I think, is the hardest thing that we have to try to figure out and come up with. And you find yourself getting ready to get ready because, you don't always know what to say or how you want to position it. And I think that's where AI has really come in and really has helped us tremendously.
Right. And I just want to encourage any agent that might be listening to this, because what we see from the brokerage standpoint is it doesn't matter your age, but technology and some of the new advances can be really overwhelming. And you just got to keep on keeping on because, just learn new things and try. And, especially we have the best trainers here, I feel like, just that really show you how to do some of the things that seem overwhelming. And just keep learning those new skills and don't be left behind. And I've been so proud of our agents that was really overwhelming, that they've really done it.
Oh, absolutely.
And it's not as hard as it seems.
Exactly. I think Lofty's been a huge part of that. And I think that's been, it's our CRM, and it makes a huge difference on, how productive our agents are.
Right. You can
keeps them on,
see who's
keeps them on,
searching for properties and all of those things.
exactly. Keeps you on top of your game.
Right. I agree. So we're going to kind of pivot a little bit more, there's that word again, on the wealth building side, because I know a lot of times, especially like in interviews, when we are talking to people, not only do people want to sell real estate and get into the real estate business to sell, but they also want to just change their life and build some wealth for their own family.
Exactly.
And so I know that you're an expert on this. You teach our class in Legacy Launch called Congratulations, You're a Business Owner. But just on that side of the business, how do you first of all treat your real estate business like a business and not just a job? We'll start there.
Well, I think it comes down to knowing your numbers and knowing, you have to have clear goals, and then you have to have, numbers and metrics that support those goals. And I think a lot of agents, and we're all guilty of it, we fly by the seat of our pants. We just want to go sell something. We don't think about long-term investing or anything. That's usually an afterthought down the road. I think some of the younger generation that are coming right out of college and getting into real estate, they really have the upper hand. I mean, I wish I had started way earlier than I did.
Right.
I was in my 20s before I decided to even get into real estate. And I wish I had started at 18.
Right.
So,
well, I was 40. Yeah, I agree. And, I feel like now, at least maybe, you have your algorithm, but I'm seeing so much about these young people investing and knowing how much, I did not know any of that until I was way later in life. And you can really change your life if you start early. You have a lot of time on your side.
Exactly, because it helps you build the passive income that we need for retirement.
Right.
So.
Well, with the agents that are thinking about that, about the long-term wealth strategy, what do you think? How do you break into investing in real estate?
Well, I think you just have to commit to, that first house. Get an investment property, whether you want to have an Airbnb or if, I think long-term rentals are a little easier.
Right.
And if you only have one, you just kind of get your feet wet.
Right.
And as you grow, I have a gentleman that I helped get into the business several years ago. He's young. He's in his 20s. He already has 10 rental properties.
Wow.
But he'll buy just about anything. He bought an RV park, and he's making money off of that. I think that's just it. You just have to figure out what works for you.
Right.
And what you're willing to deal with. I'm not a very handy person, so I would have to have a handyman on speed dial.
Right. Or just maybe not a complete fixer-upper.
I'm not, or it has to be in really great shape. So.
No, I agree. And also, even like building teams, that's another way to kind of have, in your real estate career, we have a lot of agents that are really interested in that, and just having passive incomes in other ways.
Exactly. Yeah, because we've had, at one point I was part owners in 10 Keller Williams offices over the years. And so you can build passive income that way, or, now it's growing my real estate business, and, hopefully down the road I'll have a team again. And, and that's a great way to grow your passive income.
If you like to people.
If you like people. You have to really love the people
patience.
You're in business with.
You do. No, and it's funny because you'll see some of these agents that are really good, and they think they want a team, but they realize, I think that's just not my personality. They don't want to manage people always, but then some people are great at it.
Right. Well, and I think that's, along the lines of team building, it's important to have a solid foundation. And I think that's something you see clearer than most people, because you build the infrastructure, you build that foundation, you have the people that can help support you and grow your business and help you scale your business. Right. Too many people just jump in and they're like, oh, well, I'm busy, I'm feeling overwhelmed, I'm going to hire a buyer's agent, but they don't have an assistant. They don't have, they may not even have a transaction coordinator. They're trying to do it all themselves, and that's where I think they struggle in providing value.
Right.
But you guys, you have it down pat.
Well, thank you.
It's always a work in progress, but you guys are doing great.
Well, thank you. We're going to switch it up just a little bit. I'm going to challenge you a little bit.
Okay.
So we're going to do a fun rapid fire round. So you got to give me your quick response without thinking about it.
All right.
Okay. What is the biggest time waster that agents need to cut out?
Getting sucked into social media. I think social media is a important part of our business, but getting sucked into just scrolling on Facebook forever. Get in there, make your social media posts, and move
go
on
back to work. Not when I was showing you the drama yesterday.
Yeah.
The best real estate advice you've ever received.
Focus on the basics.
Okay.
I mean, because that's where the money is.
One book every real estate agent should read.
Oh, this is a great one. Think and Grow Rich by
I agree.
Napoleon Hill.
I like that one.
Because it helps you with your passive income.
Yes. A habit that separates top producers from average agents.
Discipline and focus. And I think focus is probably the more important part of that, because without focus, you can't be disciplined.
One thing you wish you knew earlier in your career.
Investing in rentals. I wish I had been a better investor early on.
Me too. Well, Jim, this has been incredible. You've seen so much in the industry. You've built a massive business. You've trained some of the best. All right, when you leave us today, give us one piece of advice for our agents that are listening and at Texas Legacy Realty. How do you get in the top 13% and stay there?
I know I've preached this a little bit through this, but having clear goals, being consistent, and don't give up. Right. Too many people give up just before they're about to really take off. And I think that's the biggest part of that is you just got to be tenacious. You've got to stick with it. And because something's not working today, that doesn't mean it won't work tomorrow. And
you've been around, so you've seen the market. Yeah. The market always goes up and down.
It's always evolving.
And what does it say? It's like expansion follows recession, or maybe the opposite. But it always goes up and down, and there's always an opportunity.
Absolutely.
And closings happen every day.
Exactly. And that's the thing. It's like, even when the market shifted, the only thing that really shifted is who we're selling to. People still needed to buy, people still needed to sell. It just, the only thing that changed is who was actually buying and selling.
Right.
So.
And that changes from year to year.
Absolutely.
For sure. Okay, for the agents listening who want to connect with you and follow you on your journey, or even reach out, what is the best way for anyone to get in touch with you?
You can reach out to me here at Texas Legacy Realty. My email address is jim@texaslegacyrealty.com, or you can call me.
What's your Instagram?
It's hold on.
I don't have my phone to check. We can put it in the end.
I'll have to get it too.
We'll put it in
we'll
the
skip that part.
We'll put that in the comment section.
I can't remember my Instagram off the top of my head. That's where I have to be a lot more purposeful.
You were right.
I told you.
It's just Jim Raines.
Just Jim Raines.
Jim Raines. How do you forget that?
I couldn't remember if I had Texas Properties in there or not.
I think you probably have two.
Yeah.
Yeah, your Jim Raines and then your Texas Properties. Yeah. But we'll put it in there.
Yeah, there you go.
That's funny. Well, so agents, if you're serious about being in the top 13%, take Jim's advice to heart. This industry is full of opportunities, but for those who treat it like a business, stay focused and take action. If this episode helped you, share it with another agent who needs to hear it. And if you're thinking about leveling up your career, Texas Legacy Realty is always looking for driven agents who want to thrive and not just survive. Reach out and let's talk about getting you to the top.